Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be doing a battleground PvP class spec tier list. This is something you guys asked me to do. I pretty much enjoy battlegrounds. It's pretty much the main source of enjoyment for me in this game. So this is going to be for like random battlegrounds, epic battlegrounds, and battleground blitz. This is going to be for 10.2.5. And yeah, so keep in mind some of this is obviously my opinion of course as well. Some people might disagree with me, or some might not. And yeah. So let's go ahead and get this started. First things first, let's get into Affliction Lock. I'm going to put that in S tier. They have one of the most powerful abilities in the game. Well, technically it's not just Affliction Lock, but since we're looking at Affliction Lock, and that is Shadow Rift. Shadow Rift can be extremely broken for battlegrounds. Just a few examples. One, Ashran, some people can lock them into the Horde base. They can't get out unless they grab the item in the base, which most people don't. There's also Wintergrass, where you can get locked under stairs, and some people obviously you can get out of that, but some higher like Torn and all that have a harder time getting out. And some of those just split seconds can pretty much win you the battleground or team fight, whatever. So, and there's also Battleground Blitz, Eye of the Storm. For those that don't know, Battleground Blitz, Eye of the Storm has rocks in the middle. Normal Eye of the Storm doesn't, and a lot of people on normal Eye of the Storm like to hide down below and snipe from down there or heal down there, etc. And Battleground Blitz, you can't do that. So what I like doing Battleground Blitz is lock people down. Not lock people down. Put a portal down there behind the rocks, and then they have to walk back up when I teleport them over there. And just getting a healer out of the team fight is pretty huge. So that's kind of the main reason why I'm putting Affliction S tier, besides the fact that they are dot class, and dot classes in Battlegrounds are generally really good because they can just melt and rot the team down. Not to mention, Affliction does have a when you dispel their unstable affliction, it silences the person. So doing that against the healer is pretty huge. Not to mention, it does take down a decent chunk of their health as well. So that's pretty much the main reasons why I'm putting Affliction on S tier, and why I put them there. Next up is Arcane Mage. I'm putting them in B tier. I don't think mages are that spectacular in Battlegrounds. There's, like, besides Ice Wall, which I don't know if Arcane gets or not because I don't play Arcane personally, but Arcane also gets locked out of spell schools once and they're kind of screwed, so I feel like it's kind of like one of the more meh of the mage specs, if I'm being honest. But yeah, besides Ice Wall, I just don't think mages are really as threatening for Battlegrounds specifically. I mean, ranged classes are pretty good for Battlegrounds, but for Arcane Mage specifically, Polymorph just completely removes dots, and Battlegrounds are chaotic anyways. People always constantly break your CCs, like Hunter Traps, Polymorph, stuff that can easily break in one CC, and kind of stuff like that. So it's just like, I don't think Arcane is like worthy of being A or S tier. I mean, if they deserve to go up, maybe to low A tier, but for right now, high B tier is where I would put Arcane right now. I just don't particularly think they are good enough for the A slot personally. But that's my main reasons why for putting them in B tier. I've seen a few Arcane mages be pretty good, but for the most part, I would put them in B tier right now. Other than some knockoffs and ice walls, that's just pretty much where I would put Arcane. Arms Warrior. Arms Warrior, as you guys know, Warriors, DKs, Paladins pretty much took a huge hit with the plate armor nerfs. I debate on whether to put this one in high B tier or A tier or low A tier, and I think I'm gonna put this in low A tier because I think depending on what you face, if you got good healers, Battleground Blitz, I think they are probably the most like way better at right now. I feel like they are really good in like smaller team fights. So in epic Battlegrounds, they are gonna have a very hard time. I would say 15 man and random Battlegrounds, they might have a hard time because, like I said, the plate armor nerf was pretty huge. It probably won't affect them as much in Arena, obviously, because it's just not as many players. But in Battleground team fights, even before the plate armor nerf, you could get screwed pretty much because you don't have a healer with you. And now you die even faster thanks to the plate armor nerf. Marksman Hunter specifically can absolutely annihilate you, and there's tons of those going around. So that's the reason why I'm putting them on low A tier. I debate on putting it at high B tier, but they still got a pretty, other than survivability issues, they're still pretty strong. They got really strong damage. They still have pretty good utility between Stormbolt, Shockwave, Fear, which also got buffed because I think all Fear X got buffed. Ignore Pain's still pretty good. Victory Rush, stuff like that. They still have pretty decent stuff, so that's why I'm going to put them on low A tier. But they did take a pretty decent hit this match, this patch, so keep that in mind. Assassin Rogue, I'm going to put this in high A tier. The reason why I'm not putting it in S tier is because I think personally one other Rogue spec is a lot better than Assassin. Assassin's really, really strong. They can obviously nuke your target pretty fast. Not as fast as Sub, in my opinion, but it's pretty high up there. They also don't have double vanish. They don't have a lot of control compared to Sub either. So that's the reason why I'm putting them in high A tier. I definitely think Assassin's pretty much the Rogue spec I play, but after playing Assassin for so long, this is pretty much where I would rate it. They're really king of getting bases solo. Like in Battleground Blitz, you can definitely ninja a base easier because you can cap flags faster compared to randoms. Random battlegrounds, they were nerfed, and they're obviously because you can't CC a person long enough to steal a flag there, but Battleground Blitz you can. So that's the reasons why I'm putting Assassin in A tier. Obviously, they're really king of 1v1s and ninjaing bases. They do better in teamfights than Sub does if you really want to, but I wouldn't suggest it. I think that pretty much covers everything for a Rogue. So up next is Boomkin, and Boomkin, being a Boomkin main, it's obviously S tier. Boomkin's always going to be S tier for battlegrounds. They are really insane for battlegrounds. You can run the Starfall build. You can even run a single target build, which is what I've been running, and you can just absolutely annihilate targets easy. Battleground Blitz, they are really insane for Battleground Blitz because unlike normal Battlegrounds, you can Cyclone a target long enough to ninja a base, and this goes for all Druid specs. So between all of that, they are pretty much absolutely king of battlegrounds. Not to mention, in case of emergencies and you need to run flags, Boomkins make alright flag carriers. I've done that a few times. So pretty much for all those reasons is why I'm putting Boomkin on S tier. Beast Mastery Hunter, I have debated on whether putting this in C or B tier, and honestly, I think C tier. I don't play Beast Mastery much anymore, but I think pet AI is not really that good for battlegrounds. You can make macros, which is what I do on my hunter for both marksman and survival, where your pet will attack your targets when when you need it. But I think pet AI struggles a little bit more in battlegrounds, in my honest opinion. So that's why I'm putting that on C tier. They do make really good base defenders, but that's the only main thing I can really think of for Beast Mastery, and I think honestly the other two hunter specs are better than Beast Mastery for battlegrounds, and that's why I'm putting them on C tier. If I really had to change it, I would maybe put them on low B tier, but that's just my honest opinion. Some people might disagree with me on this, but I honestly generally don't really fear Beast Mastery much in battlegrounds compared to the other two hunter specs. But like I said, this is based off my opinion. I do battlegrounds all the time, and that's just what I think of Beast Mastery Hunters right now. Up next is Blood DK. This is another one I kind of debate on whether to put on A or B tier. They did get a plate armor nerf, but honestly, I'm thinking that it kind of helps them because honestly, Deathstrike is heals you based off the damage you take, so I feel like it helps them. Ashran is the most broken thing for Blood DKs. Not to mention, Blood DKs can lock someone out of a team fight with a constant amount of death grips and CC they can do. They have a ton of CC between... I don't remember if they have Strangler or not, but they have the stun. I think they have Blinding Sheet or whatever it's called. I think I'm going to put this on low A tier, just because the more I think about it, the more I think it goes on low A tier. But they can be definitely very annoying for a tank, so I think I'm going to put them on low A tier. Up next is Brewmaster. I don't play this personally. I don't see many Brewmasters, so going off the very few I have seen, I think they go in B tier. They're not as powerful as the other tanks in my opinion. The only thing I can think of that Brewmaster does good compared to other tanks is if you get Warsong or Twin Peaks and you can just teleport away. But that's just obviously on very few maps. I don't think they're really good much for anything else. So, but that's just based off what I've been seeing, and I don't play them. But yeah, so I would put them on B tier just pretty much for those reasons. I don't think they bring anything else that I think could obviously do better. But that's just me. Demo, this is a spec I don't really play that much, but I'm putting it on the same tier as Beast Mastery for the same reasons as I said for Beast Mastery. I don't think is really good, not to mention Demolock needs to ramp up all their damage and all that stuff, and I generally feel like Affliction can just do way better in battle rounds than Demolock, so that's the reason why I'm putting them on C tier, and that's pretty much all there is to it. Destro is one of the lock specs I do play the most, and I'm putting this on S tier. They've always been pretty strong in battlegrounds. Same reason as Affliction, just minus it doesn't do dots. Shadow Rift is really broken. Chaos Bolts are really insane. You can lock people out of team fights a lot easier. Like, you could put Havoc on a healer while attacking your main targets, and then you could go for a big Havoc Mortal Coil, Chaos Bolts, and lock their healer out of the team fight and just get that kill. And it's very useful. So Shadow Rift, Chaos Bolts are pretty huge damage wise. Tons of CC. I know Demo has a lot of CC as well, but overall, I think Destro deserves S tier for pretty much those reasons. Devastation Evoker is pretty much a one-trick pony. It's got its cons with the 25-yard range on their abilities. I think this deserves at least S tier because I feel like Devastation is one of those specs that can be hit or miss, and right now it's in the phase of it's very broken in battlegrounds right now. I don't think it deserves S tier with Boomkin and Affliction Lock though, so I think this deserves at least high A tier. I'll put this before Rogue because right now I would say Devastation is really one of the few specs in the game that are really insane at killing healers. Not to mention, it can also AoE cleave a lot of people down at once. So it's a very powerful battleground class. It's just held back by the range on the spells. But that's the reason why I'm putting it on A tier. But keep in mind, if you do play Devastation, that it's generally, I feel like, hit or miss. And I feel like it's generally based off the damage tuning, in my opinion. So if the damage is good, it's up there, which it is right now. And if it's not, if it didn't have the damage it did right now, it'd probably be in low B tier or high B tier probably. But yeah, that's where I'm putting Devastation right now. Discipline Priest, I feel like, is one of the most annoying healers in the game. I brought this up on tons of streams, tons of videos. And I generally hate when Discipline Priests are good, and they're pretty good right now. Especially after the armor buffs and all that. They're just, they feel like they never die. They're really good at keeping people up. It's just, they're absolutely ridiculous. They have mind control to mind control people off cliffs, that kind of thing. They're just overall very powerful, and that's the reason why I put them on S tier. Also keep in mind, for healer specs specifically, I don't play healer. So this is just what I'm basing off, again, what I'm facing and all that stuff. But yeah, I think Priest deserves S tier because they're so annoying right now. That's why I'm putting them up there. Elemental, I've debated on putting this on high B tier or low A tier, and that might be a surprise to you, but I think I'm just going to put it on low A tier because I've been gearing up my Shaman lately, and the amount of times I put my flame shocks on people and people just remove my dots with their freaking paralysis or their blinding light or they're in prison or there's other stuff, and then by the time you do get your stuff set up, stuff that's already dead is absolutely ridiculous. So the damage is absolutely insane. Like, no arguments with Elemental and their damage, their utility, all that fun stuff. But the thing that definitely frustrates me in battlegrounds the most is when people remove your dots. And obviously you could say the same thing for Boomkin and Affliction. But, yeah, Elemental has that so much ramp-up time, and then people just screw over your entire damage because of that. So I'm just going to put them on low A tier for pretty much for that main reason. So, and that's that. Enhancements. I'm going to put this on C tier. I've not seen as much enhancements lately, and I don't play enhancement myself. But the few enhancements I do see are generally not really that. I don't think they're that spectacular in backgrounds. I don't really think they bring anything like. I really don't think they bring that much to the table in backgrounds. So that's the reason why I'm putting them on C tier. That's all there is to it. Like, obviously, I know some enhancement people might not like that, but I don't think they're that good in battlegrounds. So that's the main reason why I'm putting them in C tier. I got nothing more to add to that. Feral, I think last time I put Feral on B tier, but they did just get some changes to their defensives. They buffed their healing, and they did get an armor nerf, but I feel like the healing kind of makes up for it, not to mention the stamina buff as well. And the reason why I'm also putting this in A tier is because in Battleground Blitz, like I said, for Boomkin, Cyclone can get you enough time to ninja a base. So they are really, really good at ninjaing bases in Battleground Blitz. Also, if you need to, I've seen a lot of Ferals recently run flags, and they're pretty good at it. So that's why I'm putting them on A tier. So the buffs kind of helped them out a bit, and they're a little bit better, but still struggling, obviously, with certain issues. Alright, up next is Fire Mage. Same reason as Arcane. I generally don't think Fire Mage is really that good in Battlegrounds. They're not bad, but I feel like Fire's kind of better in Arena than it is for Battlegrounds. And that's the reason why I'm putting it in B tier. Because they just... I feel more like an Arena spec than a Battleground spec, in my opinion. As for Frost, this is pretty much what I play on my Mage, and I actually think it's better than the other two Mage specs and backgrounds. And the reason why that it is because the cleave they can do if people are stacked, like Eye of the Storm or in an AV tower. If people are stacked, Frost can do some pretty nice cleave damage. Not to mention Ice Wall is really, really, really strong as well. And that's the reason why I'm putting them in low A tier. Alright, up next is Death Knight, Frost DK. Unfortunately, this is going to be going in low B tier because they just got a huge armor nerf, and I generally don't think Frost DK is that good. I actually don't think any of the DK specs are too spectacular at the moment. But yeah, the plate armor nerf just absolutely melted DKs. So, obviously Blood is higher because of different reasons, but I think Frost DK, and unfortunately Frost DK is my favorite DK spec, but they're just having a rough time at the moment, and the reason why I'm putting them in B tier is because of the armor nerf, and I generally don't think they're too spectacular in Barons at the moment, and that's the reason why I'm putting them there. Fury Warrior is pretty much going in B tier for similar reasons as Frost DK, plate armor nerf. They don't bring too terribly much to Battlegrounds. They have decent self-healing, of course. But honestly, I feel like Arms is just better than Fury at the moment. And the reason why I'm putting Fury in B tier is because I generally think that Arms Warrior is suffering a little bit just as much as Fury. But Fury is suffering a little bit more than Arms. So it's the reason why I'm putting them in B tier. Because I think Arms is just better. And Fury suffers the same issues as Frost DK does. Guardian Druid, S tier. They have always been the best RBG spec in the game, in my opinion. And nothing has really changed much. Even after the armor nerfs, I generally think they're still the best tank. And that's the reason why I'm putting them on S tier. Vengeance Demon Hunter, I think this is going in A tier, at least higher above than Blood DK. I think Vengeance is one of the stronger tanks for a few reasons. The few reasons being that, how do I explain this? Obviously the mobility. Vengeance Demon Hunter can do things no other tank can. I've seen Vengeance Demon Hunters kite insanely well in Warsong and Twin Peaks. So that's the reason why I'm putting them on A tier, because they can just jump over on these roofs and these cliffs and all this annoying things that other classes obviously can't. I've seen a Vengeance Demon Hunter just live for so long, it's been to the point of ridiculousness. So that's the reason why I'm putting them on A tier and above Blood DK. So yeah. Holy Priest, I think, deserves S tier along with Discipline Priest because, like I said, I cannot stand when priests are good in Battlegrounds, and this is the priest meta for Battlegrounds right now. They never die, and it's pretty much the same reason as Discipline Priests. They're good at keeping people alive. They never die. It's just those kind of reasons. Obviously, I don't play healer, but this is just based off of what I've been facing them. I struggle more to kill priest healers than all the other healers in the game personally, except for like maybe one other once we get to that. And yeah, Holy Pally, I think, took a huge hit with the plate armor nerf, so I'm putting them on B tier. I personally have only seen like maybe 2 Holy Pallies that have been able to keep themselves as well as their teammates alive lately. That's just because everybody's playing a priest right now, and the Holy Pallies I do see generally keep getting absolutely demolished. But there's a few paladins that have been able to keep up with others, but I personally think they're not as strong right now compared to priests, and that's the reason why I'm putting them on B tier right now. Marksman Hunter, no contest, I'm putting this like super S tier. Marksman Hunter is the most broken thing in Battlegrounds. It's not even a contest. Like, even more broken than Affliction, Boomy, and Destro. Obviously, that's my opinion, but they're absolutely ridiculous. They can snipe people from farther away than any other class can, and they just absolutely melt your target. That's especially with plate classes now. The plate armor nerfs, which was their like one weakness, because marksman was generally good against cloth classes, and they still are. But now they can just kill plate classes whenever they want. So they pretty much, I feel like, have like almost no weakness in Battlegrounds, like other than maybe a good rogue sub rogue can lock them out of the team fight and take them out. But that's pretty much about it. Like, it's just they're in my opinion the king of Battleground, king spec of Battlegrounds right now. So that's the reason why I'm putting them in S tier. They can pretty much just nuke any target they feel like right now, and their damage is just ridiculous. And that's that. This is the only other healer I would say that deserves S tier right now. Mistweavers are incredibly annoying in Battlegrounds. The amount of times they remove your dots with revival, I think, whatever it is, and they got their portal, they can get out of there when they need to. They got life cocoon, that's good. Fist weavers are incredibly annoying in Battlegrounds as well. Although they're obviously not as good as keeping up people in team fights as a normal Mistweaver, but that's the reasons why I'm putting Mistweaver in S tiers, just pretty much for all those reasons. I think they are probably the second most annoying healer to deal with after Priest, but that's just my opinion. But regardless, they definitely deserve S tier because they're one of the best healers right now, in my opinion. Outlaw Rogue, I am not sure where to put this one. I think I'm just going to put it in low A tier with Assassin Rogue. I don't play Outlaw, but I know they get their cooldowns back up faster. They don't have Double Vanish like Sub Rogue does, but I don't think their damage is nearly as good as Assassin and Sub is. So that's the reason why I'm putting that in low A tier, but they can still do the other things the other Rogue specs can by getting 1v1s and ninjing bases and all that, but I definitely don't think it's as powerful as Assassin and Sub. So that's the reason why I'm putting that on low A tier. Preservation Evoker, I'm putting this in low A tier as well. They make pretty good battleground healers compared to Holy Pally. I don't think they're as weak as Holy Pally. I don't think they're as powerful as Mistweaver and Priest, obviously. But they do have some utility that make them really good between like Rescue, Emerald Communion is pretty powerful, stuff like that. So that's the reason why I'm putting them on A tier. And that's that. Prot Warrior is putting in some B tier because they just got the armor nerf, and I faced a few of them recently. They flop really easily now. Even the one Prot Warrior that never died, I actually saw him the other day after the armor nerf, and even he flopped fast now. So the fact that he dies now pretty easily, it pretty much speaks a lot for the spec. And it's not like, and before the nerf, he like never died. I saw him like tank so many people for like 4 minutes. It's just ridiculous. So the play armor nerf pretty much affected him quite a lot. That's based off what I saw. So that's the reason why I'm putting it on B tier. Prot Paladin I don't think is good at all. I think they're the worst tank out of all of them because you can't use any of your defenses besides like laying hands with the flag and all that. I mean, they can make good base defenders with bubble and all that, but I generally don't think Prot Paladin's really that good, so I'm putting it on C tier for that reason. Restauration Shaman did get an armor nerf as well, and basing it off my experience, I think it's better than Holy Pally, but I don't think it's pretty much by much. They've kind of been dying pretty easily as well. Um, this is an order of what I think the healers, anyways, that I think are harder to kill in order, and I think this is about right. I think Restauration is a little bit harder to kill than a Holy Pally, but that's just about where I would rate them. They do have more utility, I think. Nah, actually, they don't. Holy Pally's got a lot of utility. But, yeah, I generally think Restoration deserves B tier. I don't think they're spectacular. I don't think they're amazing. I don't think they're, like, super bad. So, I'm just going to put them on B tier for now. Resto Druid, I'm putting it on A tier with Preservation. I think they're a little bit better than Preservation as well. So I'm going to put them on A tier. I've seen some very scary Resto Druids. And I do play Resto Druids sometimes, but like very rarely. Because I'm not, it's the only healer I would play. And I'm just going to put them on A tier because it's kind of fun to troll people with the Resto Druid. I feel like you can't die on Resto Druid either sometimes. Plus they have Cyclone, which is one of the most powerful abilities in the game. And that kind of stuff. Rep Paladin, I'm going to put this on A tier. They just got a buff recently. I'm going to put this high A tier, actually. They just got a buff recently. Their damage is actually insane. Bubble is a really powerful defensive. They got Blessing and Sacrifice, Spell Warden against casters, Blessing Protection. They can really help out in battlegrounds. They got off healing, of course, even though it's not as powerful lately. And that's the reason why I'm putting them on high A tier. Rep Paladins have always been a pretty good battleground spec as well. I don't think they deserve S tier, but I think they deserve high A tier at least because they have always been a pretty good battleground class. And I think if they had a moral strike, I would definitely put them on S tier, but they don't. So I'm just going to put them on high A tier for now. Shadow Priest, I've said this before. I think they are one of the worst casters at the moment. I think I'm going to put them higher above Fire Mage and Arcane Mage, though, simply due to the fact that while I don't think they are really the best, I don't think they're the best caster at the moment. Their utility in battlegrounds makes up for it between having mind control, a silence, siphon, which reduces the healing on somebody. Not to mention, if you spec into a PvP town and you use one of your abilities and all the stuff pops on the ground, it can pop a little mini fear. They got Leap of Faith when you got to get somebody out of there, or to get, like, for example, Leap of Faith can definitely help with getting somebody out of a sticky situation and getting a free cap and stuff like that. So pretty much for all that main reasons, I'm putting them on A tier. And yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it. Sub Rogue. It's finally time to put Sub Rogue in S tier where it belongs. They got tons of control. Their burst damage is definitely ridiculous. It's taken a little bit of a hit this patch, but it still deserves S tier. They got Shadowy Duel. They got Double Vanish. They can pretty much lock somebody out of a team fight. They can easily ninja bases and Battleground Blitz. And they're just the king of 1v1s. And they deserve S tier pretty much for all those reasons. It's not really a surprise, I feel like, to anybody. Sub Rogue is just Sub Rogue. Everybody knows that, I think, by now. So, Sub Rogue deserves S tier, and that's all there is to it. Survival Hunter is my favorite Hunter spec to play, and I think it deserves a low A tier. It's not as powerful as Marksman, obviously, but I think it's better than Beast Mastery. It's very strong. You can probably do some cool stuff like ninjing flags on Battleground Blitz with traps if you can force a trinket with your pet stun. Stuff like that. It's really good at 1v1s. You can lock also healers out of teamfights that they're far away enough and nobody breaks your freaking traps. It's got to get damage. You can also manage rogues bleed damage and feral bleeds damage. Stuff like that. Which I guess is none of this really affects battlegrounds all that much, but yeah, it's not as powerful as Marksman, obviously, but I think it deserves at least high A tier. I don't think it's bad enough to be in B tier, but yeah, I would just put this in low A tier at most. Unholy DK, I think is better than Frost Knight right now, as much as I don't really like Unholy, but it suffers the same armor effect, same armor problem as Frost DK, and that's the reason why I am putting Unholy in B tier, because I think it suffers the same problem as Frost DK. I just realized I put Havoc in in A tier without even thinking. I thought it was the Vengeance mark. Whoops. Okay, well, I'm just in case anybody forgot. Vengeance is I'm putting in A tier, simply due to the fact that the same reasons as before. I feel like it's one of the stronger tanks. Hold on, let me fix this here. And they're good at kiting, jumping all over the map, and all that kind of stuff. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I mixed up Havoc and Vengeance. Whoops, I was not even thinking. Alright, let's try this again for Havoc. Havoc, I think I'm still going to put Havoc on A tier, though, anyways. Between the armor nerfs for the other classes, and while they didn't receive any buffs this patch, they are hitting incredibly hard right now. They've got good mobility for backgrounds when you need to get out, when you can. They're really strong in team fights, although I do think they suffer a little bit more in areas than some areas. It's hard to think about something. I generally think that I'm trying to figure out where I want to put this. I think I'll put this in low A tier. Yeah, I mean, they don't really use Mortal Strike anymore because the survivability talent is more huge than the Mortal Strike. So I think I'm gonna put them on low A tier because while they may be good in team fights, they don't really run Mortal Strike anymore, but most classes already have one. Yeah, I mean, they don't really bring much else to the table. They have decent CC, though, between Imprison and Fear. Yeah, I'm going to leave this in low A tier. Up next is Windwalker Monk. I'm going to put this under Havoc Demon Hunter. I debated actually on putting this in B. You know what? I'm going to put this on B tier. I think Windwalker deserves B tier, high B tier. I don't think they bring too terribly much to battlegrounds. When I play mine, it can either be hit or miss for battlegrounds. They are not really too spectacular in team fights. They die pretty easily. They have really powerful damage, but Havoc and Windwalker definitely are like the hit and run playstyle. I think Havoc is better than Windwalker for a few reasons. But yeah, I'm gonna put Windwalker in B tier because I feel like they're better at 1v1s, but 1v1s is obviously like going off and doing your own thing and ninjaing flags, which I guess they can do that, but I don't think Windwalker is as powerful for battlegrounds. Windwalker is like kind of like similar to our Fire and Arcane, or I feel like they're better in arenas than battlegrounds. I feel like it's that kind of similar thing. Like, I love Windwalker. Windwalker is one of my favorite things to play in the game, but I think they're generally better in arenas than battlegrounds because they just die a lot easier in team fights. You can even watch some of my videos where I try to go into a team fight and your health goes down so fast. It's actually insane. So I play Windwalker and battlegrounds generally like defending stuff, like going in Warsong roof and waiting for people to grab the flag and ambushing them there. That's the playstyle I kind of like for a Windwalker monk. So if you do play Windwalker, just be aware you're probably going to be spending your time more running away if you're going to be team fighting, or going for picking off targets, which is generally what I enjoy more in Windwalker. But that's the reason why I'm putting it on B tier, and I really enjoy the spec personally. Augmentation Evoker, I don't even see this anymore. I don't even play it that much anymore. I don't think they're really that good. I'm going to put this on high C tier because the buffs can sometimes still help out, I guess, in battlegrounds. But generally, to me, playing Augmentation is kind of pointless right now. It's better just to play Devastation Evoker. And I think most people would probably agree with that, simply due to the fact that I don't even see them anymore. I don't even remember the last time I've seen an Augmentation. They used to infest battlegrounds everywhere. But ever since the nerf a long time ago, you never see them much anymore. Anyways, that's it for the video, guys. Let me know if you guys agree with my decisions. If not, let me know the reasons why. And, yeah, I'll see you guys for the next video.